everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And I'm your host, Amreen Nadeem. And today we're going to discuss the importance of purpose at the corporate level. We all know that purpose is very important for our life. It gives us direction, it gives us meaning to our life, but it is equally important for any business also because it like research shows that up to 50% of the more collaboration and creative problem solving, it creates and teams perform much better when they are purpose driven. And same goes with if when we see the studies and see the responses, the behavior of consumers. Consumers tend to buy product likely from the companies who are purpose driven. So today, I'm so honored to be joined by Professor and Dr. Marc Oliver Opresnik. He's a global thought leader in marketing and management, author of international bestsellers, and creator of groundbreaking Infinity Marketing Canvas and Pivotal Thinking Framework. He advises top executive, global brands, and governments, and is passionate about leading with purpose to inspire growth, innovation, and lasting impact. So let's welcome Dr. Marc. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure and honor. Thank you very much, Ambreen.
Thank you so much. And your work is so impressive and amazing, especially in the field of marketing and management. I've given a very, very brief introduction about you, but tell us more about your work. That what is your work, and what books you have written? What is your purpose?
Yes, my purpose basically is to build a better world through education.
Wow.
That is my main purpose and my mission and the brand mantra at the same time. So we want to create a better world because we believe that education is one of the key drivers to create a better world, to bring people outside of poverty, hunger, and any other kind of challenges. And that is what is at the heart of our activities. And this is also because we thought about, together with my colleagues, Professor Dr. Philip Kotler, the great guru and legend in marketing, and my international marketing guru friend, Professor Dr. Sven Hollandsen, we thought about a new kind of framework that is not only touching base on issues and challenges that are dealing with marketing and management, but with purpose-driven leadership as a whole. And that is why we thought about, for many, many years, we thought about introducing a new kind of model that is combining operational, strategic elements coming from marketing, management, leadership into a unified tool. And we are very proud and glad to present and introduce to the world this pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas, which is putting purpose first.
Yes, that's very impressive, especially your purpose about to revolutionize education, which is quite challenging also because there is so many obstacles, especially in the field of education. There's so much bureaucracy. There's so much, I would say, the system is actually made in a way which gives a very small passage, or which gives you very little room to introduce something innovative. To tell us a bit more about it, that how you plan to do it.
In general, how to make a better world through education, or to build a better world through education. So, for example, what we did is we liaised forces with the World Food Program of the United Nations. And what we do is for example, we donate for every book that is being sold of the textbooks. That is quite a unique kind of collaboration. We donate one meal to one person in need via the Share the Meal initiative of the United Nations World Food Program. So this is a very simple thing. And by doing so, we are combining the two SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations 2 and 4, which is kill hunger. That is number 2. And number 4 is quality education. That is also what we do with our innovative online MBA program, where we are donating 1% of the tuition fees to that. And by doing so, we kind of support, yeah, the goal of building a better world through education.
Yeah,
Really.
I mean that's really interesting that how you linked up together, like how to donate that amount of money to kill hunger and to actually to fight with all those challenges that the world is facing. It's really
Right,
genius of you to actually do that, and it's
right.
really amazing. Especially the MBA program is also quite amazing. Tell us a bit about more of this program because I know that excuse me
Yeah, we
that it
said
is very different from the rest of
very, yes, it is very
different.
different. And
Yes.
let me add one thing more to my work and how we try to create a better world through education. This is also by introducing this new innovative framework, this pivotal infinity
Yes.
marketing process, because we put purpose first. Because we believe that it means putting meaning before profit and metrics. It's about
Mhm.
aligning what we do with why we do it. In a world driven by disruption and uncertainty, purpose becomes the true North Star that guides all our decisions and inspires people and creates trust. In particular, in a world where Generation Z and Alpha are more looking for purpose driven corporations, organizations, initiatives, right? But this is not about greenwashing or purpose washing or something like that, but it has to be really originating from the company. It is also what Eckington said long ago, the sociologist, who said it is about the triple bottom line approach: people,
Wow.
planet, profit. So there has to be
Wow.
a balance. And we deeply believe that it is very, very paramount to put purpose first. And purpose is not to make money. So it's
Yeah.
beyond the metrics. And the MBA program is basically catching up on that, because what we do is, like I said, we donate 1% of the tuition fees. And the unique thing about the MBA program is that we just didn't design a program, but we went to 100 executives and asked them, what is your problem? What is your challenge with executive education or university education? And
Mhm.
people told us that they started as an apprentice, for example, doing apprenticeship for a corporation. And then at some moment in time, they stopped advancing in the organization and they missed a master's degree, for example.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you want to do a master's degree while working, you can do that online, but usually it takes a lot of time. That's one thing. So average amount of time it takes is 2 years. And the second biggest obstacle was that the people already working as managers, female, male, diverse in the organizations, they don't have the time to read, or they don't want to learn by heart any kind of theory or abstract concepts and then apply in or recap in a written test examination. And that is why we liaised forces with the United Kingdom government and universities and business schools and set up an 8-month online MBA program you can do solely online without ever leaving home. And it's only taking 8 months. And 4 months are online webinars. You're not sent any materials or books to read and then write a test, but you're discussing in real life webinars, which are, by the way, recorded, so you can watch them during the weekend, because professional people don't always have the time during the day because they have day-to-day work. And so the videos are recorded, you watch them, and then you write on each module, you're writing a reflective thinking report. So, for example, one module is about strategic planning, and then you're discussing with the tutor, you're discussing what is segmentation and gap analysis, etc., etc. Then it's not like, oh, please, what is gap analysis in the reflective thinking report? It's just, oh, imagine you're in, or what is the company you're working for? You're working in the textile industry, cosmetic industry. How could segmentation look like for your business? And then you apply that kind of concept to your real corporation or organization you're working for. So it's a very practical thing. And you do this
Yeah.
in 8 modules, and then we enroll you at government partner universities in the United Kingdom, and you write your master thesis. And this all together can be done in just 8 months. And you're globally accredited Master of Business Administration and Strategic Management and Leadership from globally accredited United Kingdom government decent university.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a fantastic, very unique thing. And like I said, we are very proud that we're donating 1% of the tuition fee is coming from my money, from my margin, basically, to feed people in need.
Yeah, that's such a brilliant idea to actually do this, and it's very practical. As like you said, that a lot of people are ambitious to, gain some degree, but they don't have time because they are working like either as a business entrepreneur or maybe they are in the job. But this is something that it gives very, very practical advantage for them. So I actually also want to talk about like you mentioned two things which are amazing that you talk about that it's all about the purpose driven leadership, right? So first I want to do this, and second I also want to talk about the new concept that you introduced, the new framework, this the Pivot Infinity Marketing Canvas that is groundbreaking. So first I think let's talk about purpose, that what is purpose in the business, because we know that as a person we need to have a purpose for living, but what do you mean by the purpose in the business?
I was quickly elaborating already on that. It means to put meaning before metrics, before KPIs. It's about, like I said, bringing together what we do with why we do it, right? It is catching up also what my friend Simon Sinek, he wrote the famous, and he was giving one of the most successful TED Talks of all time when he was introducing the golden circle, right? You remember probably that, right? And it says, and his famous best-selling book is called Start with Why. So he has why, right? And then how and what. And he said we should start with a why, and he was giving a compelling example. Like I said, in a world driven now by disruption, artificial intelligence, and extreme uncertainty. So we always use this acronym of VUCA world, which is point right by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And purpose becomes some guiding star, right, that guides decisions and, most importantly, motivates and inspires people, because that is what people long for. People don't want to work for money, for the paycheck. They want to be intrinsically motivated. They want to see a higher meaning in what they're doing, right? And this is delivered by purpose. Without purpose, strategy becomes directionless, and leadership becomes just management. That is also what I'm always, when I'm traveling the world, I often talk about what is the difference between leadership and management, right? And Peter Drucker, whom Professor Kotler always calls the guru of the gurus, he said, Drucker was my teacher. He's my guru. And I say, Philip, you are my guru. And he said, Drucker was my guru. And Drucker always said, Professor Drucker, Austrian American born management guru, he said, management is doing things in the right way, but leadership is doing the right things. Management is about efficiency, right? But leadership is about effectiveness. It's about really inspiring people.
Yes, amazing. Of course, Peter Drucker is the father of our management and leadership.
Right.
So he's amazing. I also want to ask that what do you think that why people, or especially in business, the purpose is missing, like especially at the strategy level, or why do people miss out this thing when it is such an important aspect of leadership and management?
Yeah, and that is often because companies are very much focused on profitability as the bottom line, and only as the bottom line. So they're not looking at people and the planet. So this balance that Elkington was stressing, or that Simon Sinek was stressing, because in a lot of companies, these are traded on the stock market, the shares, and it's what we call, to put it in a kind of a negative context, this is what we call shareholder value capitalism. And there is a difference in management, and purpose-driven leadership means not to only focus on shareholders, but to focus on stakeholders. So we call it stakeholder value management. And stakeholder value management are all the interest groups of the organization or corporation. So meaning the employees, the works council, the environment, the trade unions, the politics, etc., Human Rights Watch, right? Governmental or NGOs, doesn't make any difference. So you need to have a kind of more comprehensive view. The problem is that a lot of top managers, they have a high degree of variable payment and component that is fixed or linked to the shareholder, to the stock market, to the share price and the market capitalization. And because of that, they are short-term focusing on profitability as the main KPI and metric. And that is the main issue.
Yeah. So there's so much focus on, again, profitability, and that's the main problem. That's the killer, I would say. That they're so much focused on that, they lose out something. But do you think? I would just say, how do you think that putting in purpose will bring more profitability? What do you think? What is the main driving force to give them more profit?
Yeah, I think you have to start with reflection, not with projection. Great leaders don't invent purpose. They uncover it by asking, whose lives do we touch? What positive change can we enable? So, for example, you can use frameworks like the Golden Circle coming from Simon Sinek, or my pivotal thinking concept, to connect purpose to value and action. It is profitability, or aiming profitability is not a bad thing per se, but if it's the only driver, right, you fall short. Because you even fall short if you try to maximize profitability, because people don't work with blood and sweat and tears, like Simon Sinek always said, for your corporation, but they just work for the paycheck. So purpose is not a slogan, it's the soul, and should be the soul of an organization in motion.
Yes, absolutely. I think purpose is something that comes directly from the heart. And that is the main driving force. That is the main motivation for any purpose, for any person to work for the company, which aligns with their purpose as well.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
so
that's it.
That's how they can work on the profitability, and I think that the bigger the purpose is, like to serve humanity, or to serve, to work for some people in general, I think then it will align with like more people, and the people will actually, they will be intrinsically motivated to work for the company, and even for if we talk about the customers, they will be intrinsically motivated to work with that particular company. So
that's it.
Yeah.
And there has to be a higher purpose in our actions that is intrinsically motivating us.
Yeah.
And that is beyond selling another chocolate bar to somebody in order to increase turnover or return on sales or equity. Right?
Yeah.
There must be more. And otherwise, people are just working for the paycheck. And we see that there's a famous study always, if you heard about that probably, coming from the Gallup Institute in the United States of America. And they are always asking, I love the study, they're always asking many, many thousands of people from different kind of countries, more than 50 countries. Are you working for, are you living to work, or are you working to spend your living? And the second question, is the company you're working for giving you every day the opportunity to do what you can do best, right? That is compatible to your strength. And that is the point. And there was the best thing also here about motivation that has ever been written, I think, in my humble opinion, was coming from the author of The Little Prince, Saint-Exupéry. And he wrote, if you want to build a ship, don't assemble men. Don't delegate tasks. That is management, right? Don't let them collect wood, but teach them the longing for the endless ocean, because then the
Wow.
people want to collect the wood themselves,
Yes.
because they see a higher purpose in that, the
Yes.
longing for the endless ocean, and that is the main difference. And
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
was elaborating that once in my TEDx talk, when I
Mhm.
was talking also about Herbert van Karajan. He was a very famous composer and conductor. And it's a nice story, if I may
Yes.
tell this story, because
Yes.
storytelling is very, very exciting for
Yes.
people who like to listen to stories, because they can remember the concept better.
Mhm.
It's closer to their heart. And this famous conductor was coming for an interview for German radio. And the interviewer said, "Oh, Mr. von Karajan, Maestro, you're just coming from vacation. Thanks very much for spending the time with us. How was your holiday? Right? Did you relax?" And he was kind of a little bit annoyed, because he said, "Oh my God, I thought this would be a serious interview. I couldn't work at all. It was terrible." And then the interviewer said, "Oh, Maestro, I'm sorry about that, but this is why we go on vacation, to relax,
Yeah.
not to work." And he said,
Yeah.
that is a lovely, I will never forget that. I was listening live to the interview. I will never forget that. And he said, what you are doing, asking questions to me, this is your job. But my profession is my passion. And if you take the conductor piece away from me, it is like taking away water from the plant, from a flower. It sounds a
Yeah.
little bit pathetic, but
Yeah.
this is why he has, and I called it in my book about motivating people, HR management. I call that the Karajan factor, and it tracks the
Yes.
degree of intrinsic motivation that people have for what they do, right?
Yeah.
And this is absolutely paramount. And Gallup is tracking that. And Gallup is saying that, for example, Germany, about 78%, that's recent number, have no or very little emotional attachment to their job and to their employer. So
Yeah.
the majority of people is saying, "Oh, I work for living. I don't live
Yeah.
to work." So there is no identification, because they are lacking the purpose and they're lacking intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, yeah. This is you actually describe it so beautifully. I've written it in my book. Actually, it's a basic what I always believe that purpose is the internal motivation. It's the main driving force
Yeah,
that gives you the push to the internal motivation.
that's
And when you get this internal motivation, it's you get into the flow state, which is very rare to state.
yes, I
And
absolutely
that
agree.
that flow state to me is actually the resonant frequency of human being. If you know that, if you have the idea of the physics or something, it's when any and when element or any particles, come
Absolutely.
into the resonant frequency, it it achieves the optimum level. And for human, they achieve the optimal level when they are into the flow state. And that flow state can only be achieved when you are driven to something which is your purpose. So it is so much linked with each other that it doesn't have to
It
be
is. It is.
something like you have to work to earn money or something. It's something when you do it with the passion, it you're bound to stand out. So you just explained it so beautifully, so I really like
Thank
that. Yeah.
Thank you, and that is so important, because most people only get it in on vacation or in their free
Yeah.
time through their hobbies. That is also why I left Shell. I was working for Shell for 10 years, the last 3 years in London in global strategy,
Mm.
and I like my job. But I was
Yeah.
giving in parallel. I was giving lectures at the university on international management and strategy, and this very much was intrinsically motivating me, because I got the impression and feeling that I could help to change, how to optimize the potential. You see it that is my brand mantra for the corporation, right? Optimizing potentials.
Yeah.
I can optimize the potential of young people and change their lives for the better. And I'm not saying that this is of a higher value and better than to work for Shell or to work for any other organization. But personally, individually, it was providing me with a greater motivation. And that is why I decided I wanted to become a university professor full time and work with young people and develop their potential and maximize and help them to become the best of who they can be.
Yes, and you are doing it very well, because you're that's how I think it's contagious, that it exudes, I think, and it starts to create a ripple effect, that maybe you're touching one life, and that it creates that touching another life and creating a ripple effect. So okay, now tell us about this pivotal infinity marketing canvas, that how it is different from the current strategies and current like all these marketing things in the market at currently, and how it's going to benefit to the organization in a different way.
Right. Thank you for your question. It is different because first of all, what is the word standing for, right? This pivotal is, of course, pivotal means changing point, right? It's a paradigm shift that we are aspiring to achieve. So we just didn't reinvent the 4Ps or something like that. We were making more out of that. So pivotal is, P is for purpose, right? That is the starting point. And then we look at the customers and the customer segments, right? Whether you're aiming at business clients or you're looking at the end consumer, for example. And then we look at their challenges and problems. That is always what my colleague, Professor Dr. Clayton Christensen, the famous Harvard professor, calls jobs to be done. That was coming from his famous book in 1996, The Innovator's Dilemma, right? So, and also what Professor Lewitt from the MIT long back said and meant when he said, people don't want quarter-inch drills. They want a hole in the wall, right? To put on the wall a family picture to make their living room more cozy, more emotional. So we look at the problems of people, and then we have the second one, and then we come with innovative solutions, innovation, right? That is the innovation. And then V is value. So this is basically the old operational marketing mix. Value, O is the outreach, T is the transfer. And at the crossroads of the infinity symbol, right, we have micro and macro environment all around the organization and the consumer. And then this is so unique, we are not focusing on transactions. So traditional frameworks like the 4Ps focus on transactions. The Infinity Marketing Canvas focuses on long-term relationships and resonance, right? So the A and the L is for advocacy. So we're not aiming at satisfying customer one time or the stakeholder, right? But we're trying to turn customers or prosumers into ambassadors to our brands and to our brand message and to our purpose. And we don't want to do it one moment in time. We are aiming at the customer lifetime value. Therefore, the last one, the L, is for lifetime value. And this is also symbolized, this exchange, through the infinity symbol. So it represents the infinity connection between company and customer. So we have this customer journey emphasizing purpose, innovation, and long-term value are more important, and it is favored over short-term profitability. So it's about not about selling products anymore or value propositions. It's about creating meaning, because people are looking, in particular in today's world, I told already, I was talking about that already, looking for purpose-driven organizations and brands.
Yes, and I love this idea that how you connected that everything together, and like giving a meaning. And at the end of the day, everyone, what is required is the value. It's like when your company or any company is giving a value to the consumer, that is the only thing that they need. And the value is not just in terms of profit, I would say, not the KPIs, not the profit. It has to be something bigger than that, where actually, as again, it's not only the purpose for the company, but it also excites or inspires them to live their purpose for the customers as well.
It
That
is,
is
yes, it is,
that's
yes,
how like you creating the infinity cycle,
absolutely,
which is really amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can see that beautifully being implemented by a classic example coming from Patagonia. Because yes, Patagonia is an excellent example for that. So Unilever under Paul Polman or Patagonia under Yves Chouinard both redefined business as a force for good. So their performance proved that purpose and profit are not contradictions, right? But
Yes.
catalysts. When purpose leads, profit follows automatically. So there is a famous campaign when Patagonia was stressing and was very much looking forward for sustainability and production throughout the value chain and the supply chain. They had a very famous campaign when they not only said, "Oh, our jackets are I don't know produced sustainably, etc., and we are looking for green production," but they said. A very famous campaign said, "Don't buy this jacket." And then they showed recent Patagonia jacket, and they were talking about sustainable production of this jacket. But they said, this is a sustainably produced jacket, manufactured jacket, but the most sustainable jacket is the one you put on again. It's the one you don't buy, but you put on again. And that is why we at Patagonia include the repair service. So you can bring your Patagonia or other jackets to us and we repair them. It's a Patagonia jacket, we repair them free of charge. You don't have to pay for that. And that is sustainability.
Yes, yes, that's such a brilliant example. And I remember like when I used to work for Unilever, and like Paul Polman was like in 15 years ago, was
Right,
the first one
right,
actually
excellent.
to introduce the sustainability concept. And that they said that we need to reduce the carbon footprint and then increase the profitability. And that is how, I mean, his idea was brilliant at that point in time, that how we actually reduce all those like carbon footprint and increase the sustainability. And again, he just linked that how we can actually maintain the profitability. And he did that. I mean, literally, it was really amazing. This is how, and we've seen that like even consumer prefer those goods which are more which they focus on more sustainability. So I think that is the way forward these days.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a bit more about this, about your book that you recently launched. And I know that you got this endorsement from Marshall Goldsmith, and it's saying that it's the compass of the future marketing. So tell us a bit more about your book, that how how it is introduced this framework, and how it is different, and how it's gonna make the difference
Yes.
in the organization systems.
All right. What we did was, like I said, we were not only thinking about a theoretical concept, right, that is abstract, but we were designing a canvas. For example, you all know about the business model canvas or the value proposition canvas coming from Osterwalder. However, the challenge of this kind of tools or Blue Ocean is that it's just one aspect of the business. So Blue Ocean, for example, is about what kind of value drivers can you invent or stimulate or stipulate, or what kind of cost drivers can you reduce or abolish, right? And that is the combination of the generic strategies of Michael Porter, right, who said that you can either differentiate, or you can focus, have a focus strategy, or you can be a cost leader, right? That is this Blue Ocean kind of thing. But it lacks this this interaction. It also lacks, right, the customer lifetime value. It lacks the purpose. There's nothing. So this what we call normative management, the purpose of the organization, the mission and the vision, and the code of conduct and values are completely irrelevant for these kind of models. And also in the value proposition canvas, you have on the left-hand side, you have the company, on the right-hand side, you have the customer, and then you have the products and the services, and on the right-hand side, you have the problems or jobs to be done, Osterwalder calls it. But the problem of this model, for example, of this canvas is that the value, so the gain creators are always, so you have gain creators and you have pain points, right? But the gain creators are always inverted pains. And then, and then you map them. But here again, there is no sustainability. There is no focus on, this is just on transaction level. This is not looking for relationship. I wrote together with my friend, Professor Hollinson, I wrote a book on relationship marketing long time back, right? Which is establishing relationships not only with consumer, but also with suppliers and with government, right? Having this more holistic approach. Professor Kotler called it the standard work of holistic marketing management. He was so nice to endorse this book. So that is why we set up this infinity also as a kind of a symbol, and I even have it here. I don't know whether you can see that here.
Oh yes,
hold it
it's
into
so,
the camera. You can see the
yeah,
symbol,
yes,
and
yeah,
and
it's
it's
so
and
pretty.
it's having this and it's having these colors also. You can see it
Yeah,
here slightly.
yes,
At the pivotal acronym, the letters are reflecting SDG colors. So
okay,
yes, the pivotal letters are in the colors of the SDGs, but there are 17, of course, SDGs, and
okay,
pivotal is not having 17 letters. But nevertheless, this is how also how we set it up, because we wanted to have this holistic, integrative, unified tool. And that is also what was acknowledged, and we are very, very glad and proud that number one, leadership executive coach Marshall Goldsmith,
yeah,
famous guru,
yeah,
was calling it, endorsing it, the future compass of management, because that is
yeah,
urgently needed. And it's, by the way, the only book that is endorsed by the United Nations, by the World Food Program.
yes. Well,
It
that's
says
amazing.
purpose is the start. Pivotal framework is the framework.
Yes,
Is the framework. Is
absolutely.
the only framework because it has not been visualized in a unified tool. Because there are some operational tools and strategy tools, but there is not a comprehensive model.
Yes,
There's this process in marketing management or in strategic management, but we put it into this canvas, which can be applied by corporations and practitioners. That is the good thing. You can
yeah,
use Mural, a digital collaboration board, or a meta plan, and you can map it. And you can also map, like you do in the, it's also integrating value proposition canvas, because you can map also jobs to be done and problems with the innovation. But also you have the purpose that appeals to the customer segment. So here you have new kind of components, and also you have Michael Porter's 5 forces coming in, pest analysis and SWOT analysis, because it is also reflecting that the company and the customers, of course, we all are surrounded by micro and macro environment, which is
yes,
having an in-depth influence, profound influence on the way we do business, and also
yeah,
on ethics and moral compass of people and
yeah,
leaders.
yeah. That's amazing. So far, like we have discussed that usually the leadership comes from the top-down approach, right? But what about that? If the purpose, if the person has, has a purpose in life, but the company is working doesn't align with the purpose. What do you think that if that person is kind of stuck, what should the person do?
That is a very, very good question. It depends also on the culture, because in some cultures there you have a huge power distance. So what management or C-suite people, leaders, executives, right, are saying, communicating, it's a rule that is not questioned.
Yes.
But the best organizations are organizations that have there is not a one-way communication, but it's always a two-way street, right? And a highway. You should also listen to that is also why at Shell you're very good at that kind of thing, because it was not always top down, but it was also bottom up. So, for example, even when I was working in global strategy in portfolio in Shell Center. So you in a staff department. So you cannot be in a more strategic thinking department. But even for those people, up to the EVP, Executive Vice President of the corporation, right? Everybody had to travel 2 weeks in a row with the territory manager, traveling to different kind of sites, visiting customers. And also we had to work at least 2 weeks in a row on a petrol site.
Oh.
Right? Clean cars, right? To fill up the drinks in the walking cooler, etc., etc., so that we don't lose touch to the operational forces, right? To the face of the consumer. So what I'm saying here is that you should always question what people are doing, and also how organizations are moving forward, how they are acting, and that is also what more and more people are doing. And I can only hope that people are not resigning internally and then just doing 9-to-5 job, right, work, but really do something against it, whether they are challenging management or they're setting up their own company, right, or they're quitting the job and to move to another company and another organization, which is more in line and providing them what they with a purpose-driven and fulfilled job and task and responsibility.
Yes. I think that's a very brilliant advice. That I think that everyone has that power of of self-leadership. It's not that they need to just wait for the title to come and then to question or challenge the management if they are not aligned with it.
I'm not saying it's always it's always easy, right? In particular, if you're living in, or if you're working, for example, let's say a Japanese company, and in those kind of hierarchies, people are culture-wise not used to question superior orders, right? So that is it always takes also courage to do that, or in the end, accept uncertainty and leave if you cannot change, right? Right? Change it or leave it. So that's a very, very classic advice. And right, yeah,
absolutely. I know we can go on and on because this topic is very interesting, but the time is limited. So before I close the show, what one piece of advice would you like to give to our audience today to live their life with the purpose, and to actually also instill the purpose in their, like, to around them, to to influence them, to the people who are around them?
Yeah, my advice to aspiring leaders, and you all future leaders and potential leaders. A leader is not somebody earning a lot of money. Is not somebody being the CEO of the corporation. All are leaders, and I mean it like that. We can always learn from anybody on the planet. We can learn some things, and they can be our teachers. I learn from my students every day. There's a very famous quote I'm always loving to bring onto the table, coming from Albert Einstein, so Nobel Prize winner and genius. And he said, "Everybody is superior to me in one respect. Therefore, I shall never ever look down on anybody. Right? My gardener is better and he knows much more about plants than I ever do. So who am I to feel superior to him, right? Because I can do things that he cannot do." So that is it is about humility as well. But what my main advice would be: lead And I was asked that when I was conferred the honor of honorary professor at the New Delhi Institute of Management a couple of weeks ago. I was in Delhi, and I was being asked by Indian television, what is your main advice? What is the biggest virtue that a leader or a student can have? And I'm answering very quickly. I'm answering curiosity and courage. Curiosity and courage. Be curious. Never stop being curious like children are. Don't ask, what can I get? But ask, what can I give? Right? So start with this kind of pivotal thinking. Start with a why, as Simon always says. Purpose-driven, innovative, and connected to people. So the most powerful strategy is always a meaningful one. And if you stay curious, right, you always try out new things, and you need the courage to follow your heart and intuition. And that's absolutely paramount. No matter at which level of hierarchy you are, whether you're self-entrepreneur, whether you're working for a financial institution or for the government, doesn't make any difference. So you need to have a curious outlook on life. Always never stop learning, never stop developing, right? And aim high and have the courage to follow your heart and intuition and lead with purpose.
Yes, that's a brilliant advice. That's wonderful. I think curiosity is always the key. And as you said, the courage.
It is absolutely paramount.
It's so important. Like a lot of people have curiosity, but the only reason they kill their curiosity because they don't have the courage. So I think the combination, this combo of two, curiosity plus courage, is the paramount, I'll just say. Okay, so what is the best way that people can reach out to you?
Pardon me? What is the best way?
Like how people can reach out to you if they want to reach out to you.
All right. Right. You can either scan the QR code, which is leading to my V card, or you can liaise with me on any kind of social media. So on the Instagram or on the LinkedIn, you can follow me or connect with me on the LinkedIn. I'm a very approachable kind of guy. Don't hesitate to approach me or to write to me personally, and I promise that, and I'm always living up to my promise. I will respond.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much to our listeners that who've been with us and listened to the show, whether like the live or the recorded. So thank you so much, and thanks to all those who have actually shared the comments. And most importantly, thank you, Dr. Marc, for being here, sharing your wisdom and insights with us. It was truly an honor to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was my, thank you for the invite, and it was my pleasure and honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.